y'all should get united. Like, what we gotta do is meet everybody on 149th Street at the bench.
Welcome back to another critique, ladies and gentlemen. This is the show where we try to help you guys with your artwork and give you some information to fuel some knowledge and all that good stuff. Now, if you guys would like critique, all you gotta do is use the hashtag ABCrit over on Instagram. If you guys would like to see our last episode for the critiques, feel free to check it out. This is what we critiqued right here. Absolutely amazing drawing. Now, here we got Rvrb's piece, and not only in the description of his Instagram post, but here in the piece he says,
got some new graffiti, man. I'm looking for a graffiti crew.
So let me start by saying you don't really need a crew. They're not really going to provide much for you, especially not one online. However, let's get away from that and let's talk more about the actual letters and stuff like that. Now, when we're talking about actual letter structure, for the most part, you're doing fine, right? Your basic boxes line up, everything is pretty much fine, but I do want to get into you adding style, extensions, and letter distortions and things of that sort, because your name is RVRB. So you have your V right here. Now, the issue with this is this circle right there, which is a constant because you have it again there, which makes me believe that that's supposed to be an I. But this becomes problematic because then that means this is your I and this is not a V. That is what's called a tangent. Now, there are many different kinds of tangents out there. This is just one of the many tangents. Now, a tangent is pretty much a line's relationship with another line. And we'll show that by showing this with this. These two lines are one, despite being two separate objects. One's an I, one's a V. But because they are one, the I and the V become one, and instead of having an I or a V, you really don't have much at all. You're sitting there with a structure that, yes, looks like it could be a V, but you have this, so it's not a V. And then you have something that looks like it could be an I, but you have this, so it can't be an I. What you want to do is you want to take those two structures and you want to separate them. You want to split them up and move them apart. Also, this goes completely contradictory to the rest of your piece because you have an R, you have another R, and then you have a B that are completely separate from everything else. I mean, sure, they do connect in areas like this right here, and they connect right here as well, but the structure is still very clear to see, very defined. As to where this, you completely drop the ball, and this happens very consistently, once again, right here. Although here you do have more of a clear structure, you end up running into a problem, once again, with this. And we'll get into that a little later. So structure is your main issue here. What I would recommend doing, if this is in fact an I, do your I and then do your V after. Sure, of course, this is going to change the rest of the piece, but this is how you do these letters. Each letter has their own structure and they need to be represented as such. Otherwise, you're not spelling the word that you're trying to spell. In a nutshell, what I'm saying is you simply can't draw whatever you want to draw and then say that this is an X. That's just not how it works. In order for it to be what you want it to be, you have to include its key features. A lowercase I can simply be summed up as a vertical line with a circle on top. A V is two diagonal vertical boxes that connect at one vertice. Right there. So you need to draw those things. Moving on, something I really want you newer graffiti artists to understand is graffiti does have fundamentals. There is no denying this. It is a matter of fact. I have videos on those fundamentals. I have videos covering pretty much all of it. And what I don't cover in those videos, these critiques surely will do. But what you gotta understand is there's really two different types of style. You have uninformed style, which is what we're seeing here, with things like this, and things like this, and things like this, as well as things like that, things like this, and things like this, and things like that, and things like that. And then you have informed style, which only happens after you've learned the fundamentals. And that's when you'll get pieces like Mad C, Softless, Rhyme, Pose, and all of your other favorite graffiti artists. That's informed style. Well, what are they informed about? They're informed about the fundamentals. They're informed about letter structure, negative space management, letter and name weight, flow, things like cap height, baseline, mean line. They're informed about these things, and that's how they're able to add style. You can only break the rules once you learn the rules. So let's talk about your extensions. What you need to understand about extensions is extensions come in two different forms. So the very first kind of extension, and the easiest to control, is a compressed extension, which you can see right here. These extensions don't travel very far from the actual source, this being the source. You see another compressed extension here. You can see another one over here, and these happen throughout the piece. These are called compressed extensions, once again because they don't travel too far from the source. They're very compressed. And then you have just a typical extension, which also is known as an uncompressed extension. And you can see this right up here, as well as this and this. These tend to add a lot more weight, and they do travel quite a distance. So when we take a look at extension, you need to understand that extensions come in 3 different parts. Let's say this line right here is our extension. You have the origin point, or the source. We'll put in S for source, and that's essentially where the extension begins. Then you have the travel distance, which this can vary in length, and that's pretty much just the distance the extension travels. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then you have the destination, and that's where the extension ends. So an extension does not need to have all 3 of these to work. It needs at least 2. And albeit extremely rare, sometimes you'll see an extension just have 1. Whichever one it decides to have is up to the individual, but sometimes that is possible. But understand that's extremely advanced. Now when we look back at your piece, you'll notice that is not the case. Your extensions don't flow out of the origin, they have no reason for the travel distance, and they don't flow back into the destination. And you'll see that again right here. These 2 flow out of the origin, they have no reason for the travel distance, and then they don't flow at the destination. To add on top of that, remember how I said before how your extension can simply be just to look dope. That's completely plausible, but it cannot be a detriment to the letters themselves. You'll see that right here. This could be just to look dope, but the issue with this is there's nothing over here to balance it. There's no uniformity. You have the extension here, you have it, but you don't have it anywhere here. Meaning that the weight of the extensions is completely throwing off the weight of the piece as a whole. As a result, this extension becomes a detriment to the piece as a whole and no longer serves the purpose of looking dope because it has a negative impact. Alright, so in a nutshell, what I'm going to want you to do is practice the fundamentals. I want you to do basic straight letters with no style added. Why is that? This is going to allow you to work on letter structures like this I as well as the V that you've been trying to do and you've been fusing into one. You need to get those to be their own individual letters. If this isn't even supposed to be an I, then that proves my point even farther as to why you need to work on fundamentals. Work on flow as well, and don't worry about flowing extensions. I want you to flow your letters. Make sure those work well together first. Once you learn these things, extensions will come naturally. I want to stress that. Once you learn how to flow your name, once you learn your letter structure, once you learn your negative space management and your letter and name weight, extensions will come naturally. It's like a fucking tadpole. Right now, you're a tadpole. As you learn your fundamentals, as you get better and better, your arms, also known as your extensions, will begin to come out of your body naturally. They'll come out of your piece more organically. You get what I'm getting at with that analogy? I hope it makes sense. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about today's piece? What do you think he can work on? How do you think he can improve on his artwork? Let's have a productive conversation about it. Once again, let me remind you, you guys can use the hashtag ABCrit over on Instagram. Just let me know some, issues you're having with your artwork, as well as what's your goal skill level for your artwork. And we can accept all art forms. I want to make that clear as well. Be sure to check out Rvrb in the description down below. I got a link to his Instagram. Guys, ladies, and gentlemen, we have the bench beanies for sale right now. I know you guys are waiting a long time for this. Go ahead and pick one up. I got a link in the description. I'm super excited about it. These things are only going to be around for a limited time. Once they're gone, they are not coming back. So you have a very short amount of time to pick one up. It's kind of like Kickstarter in the sense where if we don't sell enough beanies, then nobody gets one. So share the video, post the link to the beanies over on Facebook, and help us blow this number out the water. Anyway, hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, go crazy on that like button. For those guys who are new here, we come out with weekly art videos, and it ranges from a wide variety of things. We got traditional oil paintings, cartoons, speed paintings. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, feel free to follow. I'll catch you guys next Thursday, 5:30 p.m. as always. I'll see you guys then. Peace. Welcome to the end card, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the critique. This was a pretty deep dive into this piece. We kind of branched off on a bunch of things I didn't think we would even talk about. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it helped some of you guys out. I really do. If you guys would like to catch up on the previous critiques or other art videos of mine, you can always check out this top playlist. It'll take you to more of my content. And in this bottom playlist is always dedicated to another artist here on YouTube. Gotta show that love, gotta show that support for that art community here in YouTube as well. I'll catch you guys next Thursday, and for those of you guys who are over on Twitch, I'll see you guys over there. But until then, I'm gonna go do something else, I don't know what.